Welcome to CLMI Safety Training. Today's webinar is going to be on our ResourceNOW online system. But real quick, I'm going to touch a little bit on CLMI and talk a little about our 30 years of business and some of the other programs that we develop. For those that are new to CLMI, we actually create around 450, 500 DVD programs. And if you're at our website, you can certainly go to our website to preview some of those programs. So if any time down the road that an online system is something you're not going to utilize right away, feel free to go to our website and preview any of our training programs in full length. Basically, you open up a category, open up one of the programs, and you can preview any one of these programs in full length. Nice part about CLMI is that we're one of the few content producers and also technical producers. So the materials that you're using or that you're purchasing from CLMI, we've created ourselves, and also the technical side as far as the online system ResourceNOW we developed. So if you ever had a question about the materials, we can ask our experts in that area, and also the technical side, we can go down the hall and talk to our experts there. So there's just a few of the companies that we deal with: Hormel Foods, Ecolab, Frito-Lay, Lance, U.S. Army. We've got many Fortune 500, 100 companies, not to say many thousands of customers throughout the last 30 years. So with that said, I'm going to log into ResourceNOW. Now the page you're looking at right here, this is a web portal. A lot of people, it's a learning management system, a training management system. It's an enterprise management system. There's a lot of different lingo that kind of goes with that. So it can be utilized pretty much from any web access, internet access. Whether or not you're 50 employees or 50,000 employees, you can certainly take advantage of the system. So this is the page that we provide. You'd have your own URL link. All your employees and your administrators would log into the same site. A couple of things up front that I like to mention is if you forgot your ID or password, you can simply retrieve it on the page, put your information in, login information, ID. It's going to give you that ID and password back to you. The next item I like to mention here is create your account. And basically on the create your account, this allows you to have employees, temporary workers, contractors, anybody that might need to be enrolled in the system. They can do what's called self-enrollment. And self-enrollment allows them to get a key code from you that's already been pre-designed. So, for example, if I'm brand new to your company, I started here this morning, you can give me a key code. It might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, new hire warehouse. I could punch that key code into this registration portion. It would allow me to put my name in and self-enroll, and it would also give me the training that's associated with that key code. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign as a high-level administrator. So this is the highest level. You can have as many administrators as you wish. We don't charge anything for that. So if you want to have 50 administrators or 100 administrators, you can certainly do that. When I signed in, the screen page here is basically our welcome screen. Couple items here is how you can set the system up, add users, delete users, move employees around the system, manage our courses. What we do is we preload this system with 72 titles. It's actually growing a little bit, but 72 combination Spanish and English. But it's also where you're going to load your own content. You're going to create your own content, shoot your own videos, take advantage of all the internet content that's out there. As long as it's public domain content, you certainly can load it to ResourceNOW and create courses out of that. You can assign courses out to individuals, supervisors, trainers, and then also you want to be able to report on those and track all the progress. So this is basically the welcome screen. First thing I like to do is start off with the library. The library is what I call the working side of the system. This is where we load all the materials. Let me do this, refresh my screen real quick. The library is going to consist of the programs, and this is the highest level administrator view. So let me scroll down here just to give you an idea. We've got accident investigation, we've got back injury, bloodborne pathogens, confined space entry, defensive driving, some behavior-type driving programs, effective safety committees, electrical safety, emergency preparedness. We've got a new one here, employee orientation. This is actually 10 3-minute segments or videos that you can assign out to new hires. There's toolbox talks, and you can decide which of the modules you want to give those individuals. Ergonomics, as far as manufacturing ergonomics, a lot of issues with repetitive injuries, fall protection, fire extinguishers, GHS and the HAZCOM standard for your training and hazard communication, 2 hearing conservation programs, housekeeping, ladder safety, both authorized and affected lockout tagout, machine safeguarding, And then we have office ergonomics, and the new one right now is mobile ergonomics. This is the big issue right now is all the employees that are on the road that are working laptops, tablets, smartphones are getting repetitive injuries with their heads down. They're laying on beds in hotels. They're staying at home, airports and having issues with that. Very good programs. Overhead crane, your eye protection, PPE materials, and obviously your powered industrial truck series, which is your forklift, order picker, pallet project, reach truck. These programs you can actually certify your forklift drivers. 2 respiratory protection programs. Safety committees, this is really for management supervisors to address safety issues. Safety program management, again, is another management program, taking a look at just general training and make it really simple and a clear process. Slips and falls, general industry, but we also have some other versions for these other areas of industry. And then the VOD courses below, the video on demands, these VOD courses can be used for pretty much all your handhelds, your Apple products, things like that. Same content delivered in a different format. So I went through quite a few programs here. This list will grow as you modify our content, because you can, in fact, in ResourceNOW, modify our programs, or you can add your own. So the library is going to grow and grow as you gain traction as far as your training. This is not just for safety training. This is for all your content training. HR is going to love the system because they can load all their HR policies, procedures. So anything on that end of it, technical skills training, anything that you might have to offer to employees, any information you can load and create courses. I'm going to open up just one of our programs on forklift, just to give you an idea. Now the page you're looking at is, again, the highest level administrator view, or the trainer view. This is what sets CLMI apart from pretty much everybody out there as far as on the content producers. So we're going to give you the complete compliance program. So when you see this program, an employee would not get this level. They're going to see the start button, and then they're going to also get the video with the quiz at the end of it, computer-based quiz that they're required to pass. We might give them some additional optional handouts, maybe the handbook that they can take advantage of and review. This area here, or what we're looking at, is a classroom presentation, because you can use ResourceNOW for both classroom training and one-on-one training. But I always like to start with the administrative guide. The administrative guide is pretty much a paint-by-numbers, step-by-step process to give all your trainers, administrators, HR, who's ever working in the safety side of it. It gives them a step-by-step process on every one of our programs. So what I would probably do that is I would print this off. I'd have it at my disposal so I could read up on each one of these titles. We give you not only the administrative guide, but we give you the handout or the handbook. So the master copy of these, so you don't have to spend $2.50 per program or per book. We give you the master copy that you can print off books for your employees. And the rest of the forms and documents are going to be utilized for your training. So certification cards, training record, evaluation form, because forklift you need to do some evaluation while they drive. It's called practical. So all these materials you can use as far as your training. They're here if you want them. You don't need to use them all, but if you ever needed to, you've got them in this system. So every one of the titles in the library sets up the exact same way. 1,000 pages of documents as far as the training content. So that's why I call it the working side of the library. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the setup screen. I'm going to back it up. Setup screen is where we actually go ahead and set up all your users. Go ahead and set up permissions and registrations. A couple things we like to do right away is the icon tab allows you to change the logo up on top. By simply clicking the tab, I can go ahead and browse to a logo. I think I might have one on my desktop here that I can show you. So anything, your logo, picture, if you've got something of, and I've got some companies that have the employee of the month up there, so anything you want to load, most companies are going to put their logo up there so they can identify, who they are. This makes it very company specific, and you get a lot of buy-in from your employees. Let me see, I apologize, I thought I had a logo. Here we go. Let's just take this one up here. As you can see, it changes it to ADA. It's anything that you'd like to, a JPEG would load to the system. User tab, this is going to allow you to load your users. A couple different ways we have. You can add users one at a time. So if you'd like to add a user, I can go ahead and add a single user. I can put their first name, last name. I can decide their supervisor if I wanted to. I could put an employee ID number in there, phone number. I can put an email information in there. They don't have to have email to be an employee of ResourceNOW. There's many of our companies don't have email addresses for their employees, but they still want to use and take advantage of online training. You can specify the language they are, data hire, what department they're in, location, what their jobs are, so you can dial it all the way down to them when you assign out courses. They're going to get the right training for the right groups. Close this out. We can also import all of our users one shot. So if you've got a roster of 10,000 or 500, you can import every roster, or excuse me, the entire roster. We give you a sample template here that you can take advantage of. It gives you exactly the fields you're going to need to use. Take your HR roster, upload them into the system. Within a couple of minutes, you have your entire roster on. So with that, a couple items on this screen here, I can certainly look at a user. What I like about the system is I could quickly open up a user tab here. I can see my training, kind of a short view, a quick view in each one of these employees. I'll show you on the record keeping in a minute how you can pull all the records. Let's just give you an idea of each individual employee and what they're doing currently. I can also log in as that user. So if you wanted to log in and take a look at Bruce's training, this is great for your servicing of all your employees. They might call an administrator and say, hey, I've got a question on what my assignments will be. You can log in real quick into the system and you can identify what training they have. You can also tell them if they've passed it. You can help them out if they have a question of the content you've been giving them. So I can email instructions out to them. I can move them around the system. Of course, I can delete them. Once I delete them, they're gone out of the system. But most of the time what we'll do is we'll deactivate them with a little check mark on the left-hand side. So close that one up. Permission groups, this is basically just the permissions of the system. Since we allow you to have as many administrators, you can have as many administrators in the system. So you might want to have a few large, high-level administrators that give access to an entire system by setting up new courses, assigning courses, pulling reports. But you might have some supervisors or lower-level plant managers, somebody that you just want to get access to, pulling reports to their location. You decide what levels and how many you would like to open up to those individuals. We certainly help you do that, though. Registration key code, that's the key code that I mentioned earlier on this webinar. If you want to use the key code, this is a simple process where you just go ahead and add a key code, you name it, put a description in there, and this is the code that you would give a brand new employee that's going to be in the warehouse. And by doing that, you're going to identify to that person that they're going to be a user, lower-level user, and they're going to be getting the Employee Safety Orientation Program. So when I sign in with that key code, it'll allow me to put my name in, enroll my ID, password, and it's going to give me this course right here, Safety Orientation, right away that I can start working on. Once I'm after a new employee's been established, you can move me into the standard training curriculums and assignments for those individual employees groups. Close that out. Since it's a learning management system or a training management system, you're going to have your different locations possibly. So you might have, I'm Eric, I'm in the Minneapolis location. I'm in the warehouse department, and I'm a forklift driver. And all these labels can be modified and edited to your company's requirements. So you might have plants instead of department's position. So anything you want, again, it's your system. We'll help you set that up. So we've got everybody loaded into the system. Next thing I like to always show is the resources. And everybody goes, well, what's the resource tab? Well, the resource tab is where we put all of our materials that I showed you in the library. Again, this is for the high-level administrators. This is where you're going to see all of our materials that we loaded. Same content as the library, so it's going to break it all off for you. But it's also going to give you the opportunity to load your own materials. So you can walk in and just by clicking a button, add a new resource. You can name the resource. Take your camera phone out, shoot some videos. Go to the internet and use a YouTube video. Go to the internet and pull PowerPoint presentations off, Word documents. There's so much information that is free to access. Now, just make sure that you check those materials to make sure they correspond with your training agenda and your needs, because a lot of times might be different, but you certainly can take advantage of the content and adjust it accordingly for your training. By simply naming that, upload the file, or redirect someone to a different website, you're going to capitalize on all that content that's out there. That's why we call it ResourceNOW, because it takes advantage of our resources, your resources, and all the millions of resources that are out that you can utilize throughout the internet. Take all these resources, and I always say there's kind of a mission to the madness, so we put it together for you. We give you a course tab, and one of the big advantages of ResourceNOW allows you to create your own content and create your own courses for free. There's no charge up to 2 gigs or 2,000 megs of space we give you. So take basically the same course list, but what we're going to do here is, let's say we wanted to modify a course. I can take Investigation as an example. Let's go ahead and we can make a duplicate of it, or a clone copy. And once we make a duplicate of this program, it says copy here. What I can do is I can edit that copy. So I can go in the edit function, and I can change the name. So let's change it to ADA. Let's see what we got. ADA employees. I can put it in another category if I wanted to, in the library category. I can have my own category, ADA training, so I can have my own category. I can actually type in some additional information in the course description because you're going to have more information that's going to be needed to educate your employees or trainers. So you decide what content. Your business is going to be different than somebody else's business, and that's the advantage of CLMI ResourceNOW, is you can modify the materials and the descriptions to meet your business model there. So I added some description there. Here's the thumbnail or the page or the picture that's going to be presented when you first hit the class. What I like to do is go out and take about 50 to 100 pictures or 200 pictures of your employees doing their tasks and use these so when you're modifying a course or making a new course, let's change it. So this is where you get the buy-in of having all the employees that are working in your facilities part of the courses, part of the system. You're going to have a lot more involvement as far as everybody, as far as the training, and I tell you they're going to get all the training done more effectively by seeing themselves in it. Let's go ahead and browse to it, and I'm going to use that logo that we used earlier. Here we go. I could use a picture if I wanted to, but I'm just going to go with the logo. If I needed to, I can modify this and change this at any time. The next tab we have here is the course type, and then what this basically is for those that are using some of the authoring software out there, Adobe Presenter, Captivate, Articulate, Lectoral. These are software packages that allow you to create your own training. You can load the SCORM programs or the packages into ResourceNOW. So if you wanted to use those titles or those programs you developed, you certainly can do that. If you don't want to, you don't need to. There's many of our customers that just go with the standard programs. Here's our lesson level. Here's our accesstigation. This is how you modify the quiz questions and the materials. I can click the little edit button. This opens up the course module, accesstigation video. If I click edit, again, this is going to allow me to look at the accesstigation video that we've got loaded. You might decide that you want to use this one, or you could go to all the other resources or your resources that are loaded. Change that. Better yet, let's go ahead and add an additional resource. So let's say that we wanted to, maybe add, I'm just going to say why we drive the way we do. It's a driving program. It's probably not going to be related to accesstigation, but if you wanted to, you could shoot your own video on accesstigation or have a PowerPoint presentation or use a YouTube video out there that's accesstigation related, and you can load that. You can merge additional content by clicking Browse, and you can upload it at this fashion too. So all these materials are going to be part of this one course. And again, everything from your content, our content, the internet is going to make up a course. It's going to give a really well-rounded training session to your employees, your staff there. Once I'm done with that, I can hit Close. If I want to, I can edit the quiz questions. These are the quiz questions that an employee would get after the video program finishes. Since I added some content, I might want to change our quiz questions or modify. This is an authoring side of it, our question generator or question pool. There's a lot of lingo on that. You can change the passing score to 100% because you decide that everything's going to be 100%. You change the quiz question. I can go down here, change it. Better yet, if you wanted to add your own, I can add true or false, multiple choice. Let's just say we want to add a question. Let's go with a true or false. Put a little picture in there. Browse to all those pictures that you've got. Let's see what we have on my desktop here. We got something I can use here. Let's see here. I thought I had some stuff here. Here it is, demo material. Let's just go ahead and grab a power palette jack. Place it on the screen anywhere, right side, bottom, top, left. Let's go ahead and put a question in here. So all we can do is just type in an easy question. Can we all drive forklifts? True or false, multiple choice. Just going to make it easy for you. I'll put false. Now if I want to preview that question, I can open up on the screen. There you go. Can we all drive forklifts? So what we're doing here is we're adding a quiz question to the current question pool. If you want to modify any of these quiz questions, you can do that. If you want to delete them, you can do that also. So I'm going to close that out. If you wanted to add additional modules or content, by clicking Add, you can add additional modules and quiz questions. Now below, what you have here is, since we have a cloned or a duplicate course, if you decide that you want to alleviate the resources or disable or activate the resources, these little check marks on here are going to allow you to do that. So if I wanted to on this clone course, let's say you didn't want to give the instructors our accesstigation forms, our learning exercises, our training records, by simply checking off these parts of the system, you're going to eliminate or deactivate these resources. You've got an instructor level. This is for your administrators and higher level administrators or employees that have access to the high-level version, and you've got the student version, which is going to basically give you like the video, the quiz, and a handout. So once I've deactivated a few, let's go back to the course. Here's our duplicate course here. I can open it up just to see what we've done. As you can see, I changed the logo. I've added a few bits of information. I've eliminated those resources. So now you can start assigning the course for classroom training or actually one-on-one computer-based training. Now, if you needed to, and most companies take advantage of this, let's add a brand new course. So HR comes into your picture and they want to do a sexual harassment or a drug awareness program or a wellness program or policies and procedures. We're going to give you a blank slate here by adding a new course. You can develop your own course. So you can name that course, heat stress, policies, procedures. You can put it in a category. You can specify the language. You can put a description in here. You go with the thumbnail and put a picture in there. So take a picture of your employees or whatever, again, doing their tasks and load those. Go ahead and shoot your video. Take advantage of some of the internet access of the materials out there and create your own course. Load that to the system, and then you can add your own quiz questions. So now you can test them on the content, test them on the materials. Close that out. If you needed to, you can add additional resources to the material. So if you want to use our resources and your resources by clicking additional resources here, you can take advantage of that. Once we've done that, it's going to be a brand new course on the system. When it's a brand new course in the system, put a check mark in the active box. That gives you the course and now becomes part of the library. So once the library starts building, you're going to see it's expanding as we go forth and add or modify content as far as for training. Okay, the next tab is going to be your assignment tab because we want to assign courses out to individuals, trainers, whoever you'd like to. It's your system. You can assign it out. Make it very easy here on the system. I can just go ahead and put a date in, October 4th, 2014. I can roll down and pick off my courses. So here's that course that I just created or modified. All the courses that you've created are going to follow you all through the system so you can record, assign, and track all of them. So I could say I want by October 4th, Existigation. Let's just say ergonomics, a couple of programs to be trained on, and you can actually pick off what employees you would like to train on. So if you want to train single employees, you can assign individuals if you like. So I can say, let's go ahead and assign Regis, Rod, Christine, or if you decide, you can do the entire location, department, or job. So I can say everybody in the Frisco, Texas location and the maintenance department as a floor sweep. We get these two courses. And yes, you can retrain and reassign. So if you wanted to do retraining every year, every 3 years, the system will allow you to do that. So once I assign on to the courses by October 4th, if they had an email system, you're going to get an email. It's going to tell them by October 4th they need to do these two courses. If they don't have email, I'll show you in a minute how you can give them actually a handout that they can use as far as to educate them on what we're going to be doing here. So next tab, we've got the report tab. Report tab is going to give you a couple different options. The main report you'll spend most of your time is the course report. The course report is going to allow you to pull up all your training records. So I can hit a course report. I can select, again, a date range. I can go with any course, one course, two courses. I can do individuals if I needed to. I can do the entire groups, locations. I can do completed training, incomplete. Let's just do one for this demo purpose. Let's just open up the entire completion, incomplete roster on this demo site. Tells us the name of the employees, their courses that they've been assigned, their due dates, completed dates. If I needed to, I can take all this information, dump it in an Excel spreadsheet, and I can email it to somebody. So if you got audited by an insurance carrier or your OSHA, forbid, ever came in, you certainly could export all the materials in an Excel spreadsheet, and you can show that your training records have been identified there. Close that one out. User group report. This is basically just going to tell us all of our users, but it's also going to give us an opportunity to give a handout to those individuals that don't have email. So I can include instructions. When I include instructions, it's going to open up a roster. And this roster is going to allow me to put all my users, or I can filter down to certain users or groups if I wanted to. Let's just look at this all user. By putting a check mark in the box, this is going to give me the opportunity to print up a sheet and hand out to those employees. So it's going to tell Bruce his ID, his password, picture of the screen, what ResourceNow is going to look like, the link, the URL, and what's going to happen, information on the courses, what they're going to see, and the quizzes that are going to be must be completed to get a certificate. Close that out. Close this one out. Next one is our classroom completion. Now, this is one that you can use for tracking all your classroom training, anything that you have to train in a group. So what set this up as an example? Let's say you assigned the library or gave me permissions to this library, or you assigned a course out to me and I'm an instructor. I'd open up that course. Let's just say, for example, let's scroll down here. Let's find a course here that we might be using here. Let's say that we're going to do a little defensive driving program today. I could open up the course. I would obviously show the video. I could show the video on a laptop, handheld, projector, whatever you want to do on that. At the end of the video, I could open up the handout, give them a handout. I could give them the learning exercises. How am I going to grade that? How am I going to put that into a system? Well, the old way was put it in a spreadsheet somewhere and put it in a folder or a file and then lose those documents. We can use real time. Go ahead and build our report right here. So I'm going to build my classroom completion report. I can put in my class. Let's say we train on defensive driving. I'm going to scroll down to defensive driving, bring it across, and I can say in my course, we had, let's say Rod was in our course. We had Elliot in our course. We had Jason in our course. And what we're doing is we're building a classroom roster. So here's Rod, here's Elliot, here's Jason. I can put a check mark. And what I'm doing is I'm giving them completion for classroom training. I can backdate this if I need to. Let's go ahead and apply. When I hit apply, it's going to register in the system. And let's go back to the user tab just to see what that user is going to see. So I open up a user. Now let's go ahead, and I think it was Rod was one of our users. I can open up his login screen. So you can see he still has an outstanding past due, has a communication program, but in his history is going to be his back injury that's already done. But the defensive driving we just did in a classroom session, I can open that up. As in any of our programs, you get a certificate of completion. So now they get a certificate of completion showing them what courses they've completed. They can hang on their wall, print up, whatever they need to do there. Close that report up. Very powerful classroom completion report. Many systems don't offer that because you're going to still train in a classroom, but you're also going to train in a computer-based training. Most of our companies still do what I call a blended learning approach. Not a signed report. This is just where you're going to find the cracks in the system where you can find out those employees and who has never been assigned courses out to them. And you can assign from this report. So you can open up this report and you can say, you know what, let's find out who's never been assigned investigation. I could do it with the entire location, group. Let's just do the all users. And this is going to open up all my users that have never been assigned investigation, and I can assign from this process. Put a check mark in the users I want to assign, put a due date. It's going to send an assignment email if they have email. If not, it'll come up on their assignment screen. So you can assign from this report. Next one is a usage report. Usage report, since we give you those 3,000 pages of documents and materials, if you want to, I call micromanage all the way down to those resources, you can identify who is using those resources or opening those resources. The next one is going to be the login report. Login report is just going to find out who, in fact, is in the system. So you'll be able to identify the dates, login ID, password, who's in your system at any given time to tell you, in fact, who's doing the training. So I went through a system relatively in a short time. I always like to do a quick summary. Summary is, here's a library. We give you all of our content, all the 72 titles, Spanish-English combination. You're going to go ahead and you're going to set up the system. The setup screen is going to allow you to add your users, set up permissions, set up those location plants, locations, and job descriptions, things like that. You're going to go ahead and get all of our resources that make up all those courses, but better yet, you're going to add your own resources. You're going to take all those resources that you've developed, load them to the system. We give you the course tab so you can manage your courses and add your own courses and modify our own courses. All those courses, when they're live and active, they make up the library. All the library is ready to go. You can assign and use for training, both classroom or one-on-one training. And, of course, the reports tab is going to give you that reports option where you can pull reports, make sure everybody is doing their training. And, again, whether or not it's classroom training, individual training, you can track all those materials. And then the log out is just going to log out of the system. So with that said, if you have any questions, certainly let one of our CLMI reps know, and we can answer those questions. We'll get some demos out to you shortly, so we'll assign a couple of courses out to your group so you can take some courses and show your team the capabilities of ResourceNOW. Have a great day.